Yes, we are live. So the screen tells me we're live. Oh, and we are now in person and live on the same screen at the same time. I'm Ryan Erickson. That's Niels Pflaeging over there. We are the brothers of Beta in here at BetaCodex Live, BetaCodex Central in the moment. So, hello, Niels. How are you
Yeah.
this noon for you?
Hi, Ryan. Good to see you again. We haven't talked too much over the last weeks, I think. So it's good to be talking again. Yes, yes. You're doing a lot of other streaming stuff as well with other people. You're kind of ditching me sometimes. I feel jealous. Yes.
Oh, you feel not disrespected. You feel left
No.
alone. Feel okay. All right. So
Yes, yes,
yes,
yes. I sense that you have other relationships on the side, and after 80 episodes, or in our 80th episodes, I wonder why. Still, you still need other people.
why do I have to have a side piece or two? Yeah. So I have
Exactly.
a few things coming on. So I'm hungry for strangers. I'm a
Oh,
gigolo. I'm a streaming gigolo. How about that?
it sounds like
Yeah.
lustful podcasting that you do. A lot of,
Lustful,
yeah.
lustful podcasting. Ah, okay. So well now, so we have been having this relationship for a long time.
Yes.
I think now, occasionally, as we do, we have a ménage à trois. So
Yes.
we're going to bring in another guest into our studio here, into our beta bedroom, and here he comes, all the way from Argentina. Ernesto Corona. Hello, Ernesto.
Hello, people. Well, I'm very, very, very happy to be here. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Niels. But I was listening that you're in a kind of open relationship.
Yes.
Hmm.
We're trying. We're trying.
Open space relationship,
That's
I would say.
that's modernity. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. We have to
Mm.
freshen up things from time to time, and Ryan and I kept discussing about you, Ernesto, because of course you are very active part of the BetaCodex network by now, doing lots of interesting things around BetaCodex, cell structure design, relative targets, time-oriented software development lately. So we kept thinking, okay, if we invite Ernesto, what's his speciality in a way? We thought, right? We thought,
Mhm.
what's so special about? There are many things that are special about you, and we may deviate into them, into the things that we do on the side and that interest us. But we thought, okay, it's with Ernesto. He works with. You have been working with large companies, banks, telcos, IT companies for a long time and intensely, and doing large projects. So we thought that I suggested this to talk about beta and large organizations with you.
We can learn something. Well, thank you. I was just reading, getting the topic, just reading one of your articles, Niels, around why do we need teams in software development. I found it
Yes.
really interesting, and I
Yes.
was revisiting Fred Brooks' book, The Mythical Man Month, in which he started to talk about multidisciplinary teams, and I found that article is a kind of starting point again to start looking at how to develop software without teams. And I've been there a long time. Last
Yes.
30 years, I was.
Yes.
I found it really interesting. So I invite people here to visit your article, but also that book to match what was happening at that time.
Yes.
68 was
Yes.
68. And what's happening now? And why do we should change the point of view? How we
Yes.
build.
It's a legendary book about software development. The Mythical Man Month.
Yes.
Play a wordplay about mammoth.
Ooh.
I only recently bought the book and read it, and I thought something like this didn't age well. So I have. I think at the time that must have been. It was revolutionary for sure, but I found myself being opposed to many of the ideas of the book. But of course,
The ideas.
6 decades of what have passed. So, right. So,
but do you think that at that time, that was written, even that time was bad in the approach?
Software development always was in trouble, I think, right? I think that's interesting. We're already deviating. That's wonderful. We haven't even started to talk about beta and large organizations, but let's deviate into the history of software. Yeah, I mean, this is important for our conversation as well, right? And so you have built software development companies in Mexico, and Argentina, Chile as well. Not sure.
No, not Chile. No.
You're something like the Bad Bunny of Argentinian business, right? You are the Latin American superstar.
I was working in Chile, Mexico, in Uruguay, in Colombia.
Yes, and your clients, your company, right now you have clients in Costa Rica, Uruguay, Argentina, of course.
Mexico, Argentina.
Mexico as well. And we will do a TOST tour at some point through Latin America, but that's something for another podcast conversation. Anyways, you have been in tech for a long time. You said 30 years?
That is my background. I started with software development.
And software development, in that article that you just cited, it's about why software development teams are a big mistake. To have them is a big mistake, but that the tradition of software development teams is so foundational to the whole software development thing, because software development was born as projects management in projects, for, let's say, NASA and so on. Yes. Or whatever, I suppose governmental issues like statistics and so on, corporate government statistics and so on. So software development was always probably pressured, with time constraints, technology evolving, and the whole thing organized as projects, and they were always in trouble, I think, right?
Yes. It has been a long time working bad, I think. And the point is that probably organizational structures don't evolve as fast or as good as it needs to be to get software developers inside of the value creation flow. So on one side, you have the demand of teams for software. On the other side, you have that all companies are software companies. And you have on one side, because that is a message, all companies are software companies since 10 years ago, at least, or more. But never tried to rethink about how to organize software development differently.
And one thing I discussed, I suggested in this article, is software is never developed by teams. So it is developed by individuals or duos or tandems of people. So if you put a team on top, that creates friction. If you then have steering committees or, other committees at the top, then you have yet more friction. Or if you put SAFe at the top, or matrix structures, or have functional division, create so much organizational friction that you can hardly get the code out. And you can accelerate the code development with AI, but still you won't get significant increase in output with quality. So yeah, that's where large organizations in tech and elsewhere stand, right?
And that was my thought, because I was reading the article and trying to match what are the problems that I found when working with big or large organizations that develop software. And one part that you mentioned is we talk about development teams, but we still have part of the process out of the development process, requirements, testing, DevOps, getting into production, conceptualization, all of that are out of. So what is a team? It's a group of software developers doing something with something else that all the people do, defining and finding requirements. They are really, really disconnected from the value creation and from the customer. I found interesting. In most of my experience in the last 5 years were mainly telcos, not only the software part of telcos. As you know, a telco is kind of big monster with two parts: the IT part and the network part. And curiously,
and the commercial part, I would say, right?
No, yes, but from the development part of the product.
Okay, yeah.
And the commercial, you have everything. But when you talk with the CEO of the telco, they see themselves as software and network, and they try to keep that part separated. That is why you find commonly a CTO and a CIO with the CEO of that C level.
All three of them, you're saying, like a CIO, a CTO, and a CEO. So separating the CIO and CTO.
The CTO is for the network.
CTO is for the network. So they manage what they call OSS, or all the part of billing and network infrastructure and routers and fibers, everything, wires,
infrastructure,
switches,
everything. And the IT part manage the software that put on is over that infrastructure doing something.
Yes,
and that is the main problem that I found that they have, because they are silos since the very conceptualization of the company.
Yes. Like all larger organizations, they tend to organize in that kind of silos and telcos. That's the typical structure. Even in advertising agencies, you have these kind of structures, between creation and production, for example, which is ridiculous.
Yes, it's the same. So when you, just to clarify, this is mate, okay? You know about mate, no? Have you?
You're asking Ryan. You are being asked because I have lived in Argentina.
Yerba mate I have drank before, but no, I'm not familiar with it.
Have you tried it like this?
I have not tried authentic mate. No, I have not. Okay. I have just regular old tea here. It's not.
Yes, that's very nice. The mate tea from the tea bags, that's very nice. But the mate that Ernesto is showing right now, to drink it like that is very different in flavor from the tea bag mate.
Much more bitter. Yes. But getting back to
different. And the most beautiful thing, I think, is that the kind of thing that Ernesto has, you can hold it up again, Ernesto. Hold it up again. Yeah. This kind, you let it pass around. You let it circle. If you are in a group of people, you let it circle, and everybody sips from the same cup.
Yes. You share the mate with other people.
And there are no hygienical worries about that. It's safe.
Yes.
Except in COVID.
Wow.
COVID,
after pandemic, it was a little bit different.
Yeah. It has changed. Yeah.
Well, but you're talking, but that's very different. I think that's a good topic to get into in terms of the social system you have. There's a social system. We are here together. We are sharing a beverage together, and this is okay. I'm going to pass it to you. You pass it to me. I know you. I know you're not going to put a roofie in my drink or something like that. We're not strangers. Yes. We're here together. And when you get bigger and bigger and bigger, there have to be some rules to regulate who's in the group, who's not in the group, and we have this is our flavor here. Now you have that flavor over there, and so those distances tend to create delays in time. They tend to create misunderstandings. They tend to create suboptimal outcomes, right? So, and that I think is one of the insights of beta, and that was really foundational, was that this idea of being close together in teams and making decisions together, and we need this decision, and being very much in ensemble was totally different than what I had experienced so I was at IBM for a long time. Pretty big organization, few 100,000 people. And I was working for IBM at a utility company, 50, 60,000 people, and feeling the same different kind of structures that we have to go to the change board. We need to go to the BA group for this, the project management group for this, and then, we need all this kind of stuff that, and it just seems to slow stuff down, and we're not responding to the people who actually were delivering software to, is that there's so little listening, and that totally goes out the window when we're talking about sharing mate together.
Yes.
and doing that.
when you're here in Argentina or Uruguay, mainly Paraguay, can be when when someone appears in a round, if you are drinking mate with friends or with the family, even when you don't know that person, you offer a mate. You like, it doesn't matter who that person is.
It's a ritual of inclusion, so to speak. Yes, a rite of passage as well. It's very, very subtle. It's very nice.
And even if someone, let me tell you, if someone says no, it's quite like if that person is discouraging or unrespecting you. Sometimes someone says, "No, I don't want. Thank you."
Well, what's wrong with you? Wow.
Yes. Why not?
Exactly.
Well, and here's another thing. Well, if you have a "what's wrong with you" response in a large organization, there's less of an incentive to actually have a conversation about what that is, than if you're in a small group of people who are. I know you kind of, but okay. Well, why don't you with this? Let's talk. Well, oh my gosh, let's talk to each other. Oh my God. Let's talk to each other as opposed to throwing emails at each other about, well, why didn't you like that? What's wrong with you? And then I complain to the people I know in the room, and then I complain about that other person over there, and they're complaining about me, and then blah 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 blah. We complain to our bosses and the bureaucracy about stuff too. So those are others. Again, writing down what are the topics, what's the difference between the big and the small. Big bureaucracy, right? Big rules and stuff that gets in the way of who gets to drink the mate and who's right and who's wrong.
That combines well with the topic we want to talk about today, beta in large organizations, and why is beta so important for large organizations is an aspect of that, right? How to make large organizations feel small and be team-based, and how to give power to the teams in a beta in a large organization, which makes it a beta organization by necessity. It means decentralization. It means power to the periphery, and to give power, to devolve power to cells in the organization's periphery means to make them mate capable, right? To make them
yes.
Make them intimate and give them a social density, and I think the benefits of that should be obvious to everyone, at least who's listening to us, right? Why that is beneficial should be clear to everybody who's listening to this right now, watching this right now. But how to get there is not so obvious, maybe. Ernesto, you wanted to add something?
Oh, well, I'm thinking while you're saying this is, which are the main blockers that I found when I get close to the CEOs or the people in large organizations that want to make some change. Most of them like beta when they hear what it is.
Yes.
They found kind of obvious concepts.
Yes.
But the main problem is we cannot do this as fast. We should do this slow.
That's what the executives or senior people in organizations tell you. Yes, they tell you, wow, it sounds super straightforward, but we shouldn't do it fast. We should do it slow, right? Is that what they say? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And we hear that sometimes. Yes.
Well, and why is it? And I mean, the question, why do you need to do that? So what's the reason behind this? I would say resistance, but no, we don't talk about resistance here.
Very good observation, I think, as well. There is a mindset belief that tells people, oh, we have to take this slow.
Right? I think the point is philosophical. Is they recognize that change outside is happening fast, and they cannot manage. They cannot manage, but outside of the company. But they think the change that I can manage, I should do it slow, even when outside things are happening fast.
Yes,
it's kind of it's the same. It is the same as.
It's a paradox.
Yes.
Yeah. Change is fast in the world, but we cannot do it fast
because we have to take care of
uncontrollable. Because it's uncontrollable, right?
It's control. You're exactly right, Niels. It's control. If the world's, I have control of my little castle here, right? My silo, I'm in control of my castle.
Yeah.
So we will do things at my speed, the way I say we will do it, and thou shalt follow, right? Instead of, well, the world, I can't control the world, and I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of something happen that I might not predict or plan.
By the way, let me tell you a little story about something. Contact with a large organization, 5,000, 6,000 people, all in all. That's not so small, right?
It's
rather large already. So I had a meeting with the whole board, the directors team, 4 people, and we talked about. They wanted to talk about how to get rid of budgeting and relative targets and so on. So we did that. And of course, quickly we got into the question of decentralization and self-structured design, and they got confused immediately because that's a lot of stuff to think about. Yes, all these differences between beta and alpha, which they are used to. And then when we came to the question, okay, what can you do? A company of 6,000 people, several business units, international, several production sites in 7, 10, or 12 countries or so. So where do we start this? And that's what I got excited about, of course, yes. So where do you want to start? Tomorrow. Yeah, that's my kind of approach, yeah. You should start now, because they understood the ideas. These senior executives, they got the ideas. We discussed all their doubts, took 3 hours or so. And they kind of got the first understanding. So then my next question is always, okay, where do we start? How do you want to start? You could start with the finance area, getting to relative targets quickly and then see what happens. Or we can go to, you can take on a site. They have a site there, 1,000 people in Austria. We could have tackled that. Or I said, they had 2 business unit leaders there in the room. I said, does one of you fancy it more? Or do we want to take the whole group on to beta at the same point? And guess what they opted for?
Nothing.
Nothing. And they did nothing, and they had this discussion, oh, Niels is too aggressive for us. But I think that's the same thing that Ernesto just talked. Brilliant, Ernesto, how you explained it. There is this perception that the world is moving very fast, and internally moving fast is bad and dangerous and impossible as well. So let's not do many things. Internally, let's not even try, right? That's so fascinating today in the corporate world.
Well, I think this also has to do with fear. There's another side of fear of that. Well, if you are beholden to somebody, you want to meet their expectations, right? And this idea of an error of commission versus an error of omission, right? I'm not going to get fired if I don't do anything. So I think, but if I do something, if I take a chance, if I take a risk and make a mistake, I will be penalized. I will lose my status. I will lose my affiliation. I will lose my budget. I will lose all this stuff. So why would I risk that loss? Even a lack of courage. Exactly. Why would I risk that? Why would I, do I lack the confidence in myself to be able to say, oh, this feels right. I trust this person who's telling me about this, and I'm going to go forward.
Yes. Yeah.
Let me tell you that probably another paradox, a few things that I'm thinking when I'm hearing you, is the illusion of control that put that mind into the decision. And the other is that it's the same paradox as I want total freedom outside my company. I want total monarchy and control internally. It's the same.
Yes.
The society
self-hypnosis through plans and targets. I
want monarchy. Change is fast, but not here inside because I have to control.
Stop that.
Yes.
The change stops here. Inside my company.
And the
It's
buck stops. This is the other thing that I think is it's fun. I don't know, fundamentally different. But when we talk about a very large organization, the stakes are a lot higher. That the financial stakes are a lot higher. In that, well, my God, I'm dealing with 50 million or $100 million for my area of responsibility, versus maybe I'm dealing with 10,000 or $50,000 of responsibility. I mean, that changes how someone looks at something, and it also goes into if I've got $50 million that I'm responsible for. Oh, I have to account for the budget, and then if I have a budget, I now have control, because I can control how that money happens, right? But then if I take away the budget, I'm kind of taking away my control, and there's a lot of stuff that happens in there
I
psychologically.
recently saw this post on LinkedIn just the other day. Somebody complained about the stupidity of budgeting and planning, and how it doesn't work, how it takes out so much effort and it's worthless. And then the conclusion of that little post was, well, let's simplify planning then. Not take it away. How can we end it? What are the alternatives to planning? How can we get rid of budgeting for good, as it clearly doesn't work? Yeah, we will improve it. That is the same. That is the big Weichselbaum distinction between optimizing a system and overcoming a system. And that is not very much appreciated. And we still, I always like to say, we, if I may talk about us, as a movement and the self-organization movement and whatever other people you might associate, also organizational development people and so on. We have to teach senior executives or managers that optimizing the system is not enough. Optimizing a system is okay for a while, and if the conditions outside aren't substantially changing. But if they change, sometimes we have to go into the work of overcoming the system, get rid of stuff like budgeting, planning, software development teams. Scrum now is another thing I think that needs to people need to get rid of, even though, oh my God, we just adopted Scrum 10 years ago or 5. Yeah, that might be, but still, it's not working. So we have to overcome the system. And this distinction, it's not, the optimizing the system is so deeply ingrained, it's so much practiced. It's like, it seems to be the only way, optimize. But it's also a vice,
Well, that's scale, Niels. You have to scale. You must scale at all costs, no matter what, and go faster and faster and faster.
Scaling is an optimization. Very nice. It's an optimization strategy. Do the same shit bigger.
And do it faster, with less people. It would be wonderful if someone came out with a book that was read that said, do twice the work in half the time. I wonder. Oh my God.
You don't have to think differently. That's what Mr. Sutherland preaches. You don't have to change a bit.
No, just do everything the same way you always did, but just you just do it, twice as fast, and go to hell twice as fast.
By the way, mergers and acquisitions before scaling in the 90s, it's also an optimization thing. Let's not change the system. Let's not overcome the system. Just double it, make it bigger. So all this capacity, volume, market share, scaling obsession, it is an optimization. It is driven by an obsession with optimization. Very interesting point, I think, and very important for us to understand. Organizations, this might take us to the level of discussing why isn't changing a small organization easier than changing a large one or transforming a large one. Ernesto?
Let me tell you a story about that, because
it's okay.
Some of my clients, two of them which are really big, one is IBM, you know it, and the another one is Red Hat.
Mm-hmm.
In the process of merger and acquisition that took place 5 years ago.
Yes, they merged 5 years ago, 10 years ago, not sure.
Five. It was
5 years ago.
10 years ago, I think.
No, not so much, less.
Yes.
The point is, the bigger one kills the smaller one all time.
The system, yes. It's gobbling up.
Yes. It's kind of the big fish eat the small one. So all the nice things from the open source community, all the openness that Red Hat used to have, now is jeopardized, or now is hidden.
We still love Red Hat, by the way, right?
Yes, I work with them. No, but the point is that is happening.
But a lot of culture got
yes.
smashed. Parts of the open source culture at Red Hat got.
It's still in the product. It's still in the product, but not in the structure or commercial and whatever.
Yes.
Because the big system put so much pressure in the small one.
Command and control.
Yes. Well, the system is stronger. The system is more stable, and the system is it has been built over time. Is a very, very, I would say, ossified, a very bony kind of very.
But let's talk this. Let's turn this around. Mergers and acquisitions are proof that systems can be changed very quickly.
Yes. Yes. That's a proof.
No, it's not a problem. It's good that to know. Look, when organizations have mergers, typically one of the systems gobbles up the other. It's like the Borg. It's like the Borg in Star Trek. One system is assimilated by the others, and the one that's being assimilated, it will change. So overcoming a system can be very fast. It's a fact. By the way, there's one beta company that kind of perfected this kind of approach of buying companies and turning them beta in the 1990s. The company is called Alcell from Sweden. So they bought smaller companies and turned them into, or assimilated them into their decentralized beta structure. So that is possible as well. What we know is that transformation is fast. I always like to highlight that with my larger clients. If you believe that change is slow, you're just not you haven't done it right for a long time, and you might be lacking the experience, or you might be, in denial of historic events where the system changed fast. Because larger organizations, let's take IBM, it has transformed itself many times. And sometimes to good place, sometimes to worse, becoming more alpha or more beta. All that has probably happened, or the methodologies might have been terrible. But it's very important, I think, to sadly, even organizational science or management science doesn't appreciate that when you transform a system, when you overcome a system, it doesn't matter if the system has 20 people or 200,000. It doesn't make much of a difference. Sometimes I like when my clients are a bit larger, because then they have more of the terrible processes. When you take them out, you have a huge, relatively big disruption, taking out budgeting and fixed targets and HR processes and finance processes, or the marketing department and so on. You immediately have a lot of effect, which in a 20 people or 50 people company, you may not have in that way, because our budgeting process is so feeble and so on. So changing a system, it always takes the same amount of time. Or put differently, organizations are not ships. So no company is a super tanker. IBM is not a super tanker. Siemens is not an oil tanker, and startups are like steamboats. I hate that metaphor because it's obstructive, destructive, it's dysfunctional and wrong. No startup is a small sailing boat, and no large organization is a super tanker. Every system can overcome. The metaphor is just wrong. Don't take ships as a metaphor. Because that doesn't work for us. Ernesto?
No. We have doing that a long time. Considering organizations as ships that should navigate in some place.
Yes, and they have a powerful captain at the top. That's just a command and control heroic bullshit metaphor.
Yes.
Lies in the face of overcoming the system, transforming the system, working on the system, and make transformation fast. We know that transformation is very fast.
There's that, and there's again, it's a mindset thing too, I would say, about that coordination does get more difficult when you have more nodes in the network, right?
Mhm.
In terms of if you have, it's easy for, it's even harder for the three of us to talk together than it is just two of us to talk together, because we have to negotiate and do those kinds of things.
Yes.
And then when you have negotiations over 550, all this kind of stuff, well, oh my gosh, it's so hard, because we have to coordinate, we have to orchestrate and control the relationships of every one of these things. Well, of course, it would seem undaunting. It would seem like that would take a long time.
Yes.
But what the insight that you have come with Beta, and certainly with Open Space Beta, is that, well, okay, everybody does this in 90 days, and we change all the systems at the same time. You are coordinating with the people who are doing the work for the purpose of doing the work. Well, boy, that feels, doesn't feel wrong, but it certainly feels different, you know. And it's like magic. If it were a ship metaphor, it would be like taking a ship and just, choosing a magic wand to blow it up into 10,000 speedboats. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Still. Yeah. Okay.
Kinda. It's a horrible metaphor. It's still a horrible metaphor. But I was trying to keep it
No. I was thinking, if a network needs coordination or needs good design, because if you have good design, probably you don't need so much coordination. That seems to be something that someone does over the network. Okay.
Let's turn the big ship with a magic wand into a regatta.
Turn that ship around, says David Marquette, right?
Yes, David Marquette.
That book.
Yes, I know.
Don't provoke me. I think it's one of the
don't get me started.
Most terrible command and control books, and I hate that it got popular in the agile scene.
Yeah. We all know.
Yes. No, but do you know what a regatta is?
Yes.
A sailing competition. I think that's better metaphor. A beta organization is more like a regatta.
Like a Formula One race.
Or Formula One race, yes. Okay, if you like cars, yes.
You can what I mean is you can keep sub-optimizing your car, but if the other are faster because they have new technology, new ways of working, whatever, you never will be competitive there.
Yes. Yes.
Or if you do that, this is, I think, from one of the early beta papers too. Also, you talked about the team coming together in 6 seconds and kind of totally changing all the tires, doing everything in the whole engine, and then.
Can I go back to the metaphor?
No, you cannot go back to. Sure, go back to the metaphor.
Every organization is already a Formula One race. Every organization is a regatta. You just do not let everybody sail or drive or improve according to what they need and want and can do. So I think that's the very powerful insight, that we do not need to make people be more willing to, change or to be self-organized. It's the organizational system. Once we say that large organizations are super tankers, we break the will. We turn organizations into prisons on a death planet, Another stinking metaphor. Okay, but yeah, okay. So organizations are regattas. They are races. It's just that we have to unleash that individuality, or let's say the team individuality, the team spirit and capability, and let self-organization to happen. Of course, the regatta thing fails, because we need also, in a beta organization, you need collaboration as well between teams and interactions and seam agreements and discourse and so on. So, which is the opposite of alignment, which is again an alpha metaphor. Most people still do not seem to be aware that alignment is command and control lingo.
Yes.
Yeah. So large organizations are capable of self-organization. We just have to liberate it, and that's why it's not so hard. I remember this story of DM Drogeriemarkt, a retail company here from Germany. Ernesto, when you were here in December, we went to a store, DM, the shop that we went to.
Market, yes.
Yes, they have like makeup stuff and household articles and everything you need in the household, and beauty, health, cleaning, and so on stuff.
CVS for those of you in the US, by the way.
Yes, only much better. But yes, so DM transformed itself in 1991, and I talked to the main owner and co-founder of the company, Götz Werner, several times, many times, in fact, and he always said the stores, they were very fast to adapt. The problem was headquarters. They never were able to drive out, or they never succeeded in completely driving out hypocrisy and arrogance at the headquarters. So that's the challenge: how to change the system so that people can lose their arrogance of steering, or their ignorance of the fact that their organizations are already racist, as a regatta or a Formula One competition, and to unleash this power of self-organization. That's the challenge. And to that, of course, we need to change performance processes, performance systems. Decentralization alone or creating a self-structure design is not enough. We also need performance systems without centralized steering, without the budgets, without the plans, without the fixed targets, without the bonuses. Ernesto?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I was taking some notes. I think that when we try to help companies to decentralize processes,
yes,
even using beta with all the laws, or trying to decentralize, I think one good starting point is relative targets is really, really good, because they start to understand how to compete against themselves and benchmarking the competition and other things. So you have a big learning there. And let me enumerate some others.
Yes.
They are worried about velocity of change. They don't understand that the velocity of change is outside. They cannot manage, but they want to control inside. They don't pay attention on competition. But this is where they only see themselves in the market share and the revenue and the gross profit, but they don't see competition. They don't analyze trends in time. So they are lost, because that works only when you have the big market share part. But when you're what I usually do is they show me a table of this is our market share and we are a top position. Okay, but if you zoom the second and the third, they are bigger than you. So I don't know. so you have competition.
Yes.
And they are faster. And the other is they have been designing the company for size, and for the use of resources. So you have all the people worried about size and use of resources.
Yes, obsession with size and steering, no, right? Or control.
Yes. So if you have to turn back around and say to the same people that you have been working on designing for size, telling them that now it's a bad metaphor and you have to change and design for value and periphery and decentralization.
Time orientation. And time orientation.
Time orientation, that helps. We have been conversating and how much time orientation helps to adopt AI in the companies. And the other is compliance. They are always worried about compliance. And
I think compliance is more of a straw man argument, a substitute for I do not want to change, but I do not want to question my assumptions about change and fast change, etc. So I put out a straw man. Somebody is holding us back. The government, the competition, regulation.
Very convenient. It's very convenient to blame someone else for that.
Internalize the need for, because this distinction between the world is changing fast, we acknowledge that, and it has always changed fast, to be short, right? But we need to control change. That's the firm belief some way, and you have to make an argument, a case for that. The world is changing fast. We cannot and will not and need not and should not change fast. Why? Compliance. Our clients are too slow or dumb. I have often. I sometimes in my client workshops I hear, yeah, but if we decentralize and our clients are centralized, does that even work? And that's just bullshit, of course. That's just like a straw man. If we deliver car parts to Volkswagen, they are centralized and we decentralized. Will they accept it? It's another straw man argument. These are made up problems, or our shareholders. Will our shareholders accept that we are self-organized? But
why wouldn't they?
Quality is right. You are faster. You are more efficient, more profitable. If you are operating within the law, of course, and compliant. Why would your shareholders object to self-organization? Why are they fascists? No, they are normal people, usually, outside the US. So why would you? Little provocation here to our. Hello, Peter Thiel. You are not. I'm not speaking of you. When I speak of democratic governance, I'm not speaking of you, Peter Thiel, because you are not part of that bunch.
Yes, and thus this stream gets shut down. We get law enforcement coming to our relatively.
That's for you because I'm not even in the United States, folks. So
you are not immune. No one
ISIS everywhere, right?
ISIS everywhere.
Way. Yeah.
Okay. Ice, baby. Okay. So Ernesto, did you? I wanted to riff on one of the pieces that you had in there. Or did you complete the thought that you wanted to have before Niels and I just stomped all over you?
No. Yes. That 4 points, or I think that they are the thing that an executive thinks about when they want to change big companies. They are afraid to rethink the power structure that they have. And I think that if we don't talk about profitability in a good way internally, if you design the company, you will be more profitable and the people will be better. That is part of the system. You cannot leave that part of the conversation outside of the table.
And it's one of the core principles, right? Yeah. It's the all around success principle. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, if you don't have profit, you're not going to survive. You have to be a going concern as a business. But you mentioned one word that I think was great, and right there, it's the design. Is that the cell structure design? It is design. It is intention to say here are the principles we now have. Here are the processes. Here are the protocols that we have for being together. Now they may be vastly different, but they are the constraints outside in the legal structures or in the regulatory structures. If they're going to stay the same, even better. That's something stable we have to design against. It's a design constraint. It's not a limitation. It's I almost hesitate to say enabling constraint because there's some awful person that uses that term, but it is a constraint that allows you to liberate and design yourself to take control of the design of your organization, of your network. So that's beauty, I think.
But we as practitioners, yes, that message that you show up, Niels, is very important. We as practitioners of Beta, we need to put that in the table. And because I don't know why people think that when we talk about decentralization and Beta, we are not talking about profit. We're talking about profit.
Yes.
Kind of, we need that, and we need to rethink the company to get more profit and more prosperity to all the people that works in the company and the society. The point is here in Americas, and I think in some parts of Europe, the idea of power is concentration and monopolies. So the companies usually think that if we get bigger, we get better. And I think we have to challenge that.
Yes, we have to size this better. We have to challenge the size is better belief. We have to challenge the belief that that command and control gives you profitability, which it does not. We have to challenge the belief that scale makes companies profitable, which is the economies of scale argument, which is incorrect in times of complexity. Mm-hmm. And we have to address this thing that size matters. Yeah, it doesn't. Market share doesn't even matter. What makes you strong as a competitor is not your size or your market share, but to be the most profitable player, because that makes you invincible in principle. Yes, nobody can buy you if you are the most profitable company.
Yes.
Nobody will sell your shares. You don't need to be the biggest. You have to be the best, and the best means, of course, combining profit and quality. Let's say quality includes punctuality in this here. If you combine this, profitability and quality, including punctuality, then you are invincible. Yes, and managers still have the economies of scale myth in their heads. So it's a tough thing, I think, especially in larger organizations, which is the topic today.
Yes.
It's taken for granted as a professional, a cornerstone of professional understanding of oneself, that you have to seek size and market share and so on. But you shouldn't. You need to be the best. And if you are the best, size will follow. It's that way around, which is why the best companies, the best beta organizations, Handelsbank and Toyota, etc., they haven't been big in mergers and acquisitions. They have built size.
They don't talk about so much. They don't talk about size.
Exactly. And they know the dangers of talking about size. Size is the result that you have to swallow, that you have to take care of, that is a result of success. But first you need to build success through being the best in your market, right?
And this is a very fundamental point too. We also talked about the idea when you get so big, we always have to concentrate on costs, because the cost. It's all about managing the costs. It becomes less and less about creating value. So you cost control or value creation. You got to choose one of those to focus on. If you choose on the cost control, you will continue to eat at yourself until you die, right? It's kind of like the death cult thing. But if you are focused on doing more together, better, faster, not just bigger, you're focused on, I think, Ernesto, you said, you alluded to it also, it's like value creation. Let's talk about value creation, and then we can do what we need to do to make that better, that forward looking into complexity.
Yes, I agree.
That's a strange thing. Nobody's talking.
How
are we holding up?
We're holding up. I had this mic drop moment of me there. So there are a couple things I had here. Let me run these off and see if any of them talk about. I talked big money. That was one. We kind of talked about big money, big budgets. We talked about that. Big bureaucracy. I think we talked about the system and structure. Big egos. Maybe we talked about ego a little bit, possibly. The idea of status, that I've done this this way. I have great status, and I've reached the top of the pyramid. There's an ego thing there, and this doesn't have to strike you. Fear. We talked about fear, pressure, and stakes. The other thing I wrote down when I was brainstorming myself was that the McKinsey effect. Like if I've had McKinsey in the room for 10, 15 years, I'm just going to listen to whatever they say. I'm going to blame them if it goes right. I'm going to take credit if it goes right. I'm going to blame them if it goes wrong. I don't have to worry about that. So why, unless McKinsey says decentralize, why should I even do it? I wonder if that's encountered by either of you. That's kind of a hypothesis I have, but that there's this external influence that is preventing beta from happening in large organizations. So
I would pick the status aspect for a moment.
Yeah.
It reminded me of one of the transformations that we did in 2024 with Bayer Bitterfeld, which is part of Bayer Group. Very much in the news right now because they finally seem to be able to settle on their Monsanto legal cases in the US. So, but most of the people listening or watching must have heard of Bayer's DSO initiative, Dynamic Shared Ownership Initiative, initiated by Bill Anderson, the company's CEO. And as is well publicized, we did this DSO transformation as a beta transformation with Bayer Bitterfeld, a large production plant here in Germany. And how is that connected to status? I think it's interesting if you do this kind of transformation work from alpha, command and control, to beta, and bring a decentralized cell structure to the company and a relative targets performance system, then many things will happen. For example, in this company, Bayer Bitterfeld, they had 78 managers or leaders or whatever you might call them. And after our transformation, which was after 90 days, they had 16. So they went down. The size of the managerial team went from 78 to 16. Of course, not all of these people, 60 people or so, who left their managerial positions, left the company. They didn't. Most of them didn't leave. They just returned to value creation, as we like to call it. They became, responsible for production or quality or whatever, but without the managerial role. Does that scratch some egos? Yes, it might. Right, and some people might have left, for other Bayer group companies or units or to the job market because they cannot handle the loss in status that might be associated with being a manager. However, for a company's health, of course, and profitability and punctuality and quality, it is very healthy to have only 16 managers instead of 78. So much less meetings, so much less coordination, of course, they eliminated entire management processes internally, like budgeting,
yes.
which makes less managers necessary. They eliminated departments and decentralizing decision-making teams. For example, they dissolved some of the quality area and allocated these people back in periphery cells, periphery teams. All that kind of stuff happened. So does that interfere with power, as Ernesto said before? Mm-hmm. Yes. Does it interfere with ego? Yes. Especially with male ego, which I think is part of the problem. Male ego is a big problem. Female ego also exists. I have noticed in our transformation work that sometimes women are also power brokers and very sensitive to loss of status and so on. But it's predominantly, I think, a male problem. For example, at Bayer Bitterfeld, I think the management team now is predominantly female, and before that it was predominantly male. So that's a great example. I love that example because lots of changes happened there in the culture as well of dealing with. But the ego and status thing, it's a thing for large. When we approach large organizations with beta and decentralization and relative targets, we might shake up people's egos. I remember a conversation at Bayer with somebody from, let's say, one of the headquarters of Bayer, and we talked about performance systems, and we had this discussion about cost management, and of course, Bayer Bitterfeld wanted to drop standard costing, which is a big thing in pharma, very big thing. Standard costing means every year, at least once a year, you will recalculate the cost basis, huge calculation drama, and they meddle with all the variables, to optimize taxes, for example, but also to, renew formulas and supposedly transparency. It gives you no transparency really, because it's only a kind of budgeting, an extension of budgeting into product calculation. It's quite meaningful really for the business. Instead, it's really troubling really, because then they calculate deviations from standard costs, which help no one. It's all a big mess up in large production that exist. So if you go beta, you drop things like standard costing.
Yes.
Now we have this guy from the headquarters over at Bayer Bitterfeld, and we had this little conversation about standard, and he said, you cannot just drop it. And of course they had to, the company had to drop standard costing. If you want to go beyond control, by the way, hello, Bill Anderson, if you really want to make DSO a reality, you have to drop standard costing at the whole of Bayer Group.
Let me.
And of course, does this scratch egos of people in finance? Will people say, this is impossible, we cannot drop standard costing, our world will crash, we will burn, we will go to hell if we do that. Everybody else is doing it. Yes, but that's just ego.
Well,
it is status. It is a lack of appreciation that the world has changed, that you cannot steer profitability or cost, that you need to give power to the periphery to design the cost basis, by fighting waste every day.
yes.
Get to it.
I
Toyota
remember-
doesn't have a costing system. Yeah, so nobody should have. Ernesto.
No, I remember when you said this listening Bill Anderson telling the story about the transformation of Bayer. And he said something that is good, and probably you are taking him to the point back, which is someone asked Bill Anderson, which was the most stupid rule that you found, or something like that, because he complained that they had a lot of rules and processes and whatever. And he said clearly, it's not the problem which is the more stupid, it's that does exist. That rule exists. You have to take out that rule, the rules. You have to build again the system without the rules. That was something that Bill Anderson said in a conversation. And probably you are taking him back to that point. And the other is reflecting about egos. Egos are going to be there. We all have egos. It doesn't. It's a human essential. The ego. The point is probably what is the food for your ego? How you feed your ego? If you feed your ego with size and with budget and with how many people you have in charge, whatever, your ego is going to be related with that, and you're going to try to protect that kind of things. Probably we can reorient or think about ego, redesigning the company, because you put the focus in another parts of the system.
By the way,
Ego
I have
is
to
going
tell a joke. I have to
Yes.
tell this famous joke about Argentinians right now.
Yes,
Ernesto,
yes.
How does an
how-
Argentinian commit suicide? How does an Argentinian commit suicide? He climbs on the top of his ego and throws himself down.
Oof.
It's a famous
Are
joke.
you got to come back from that, Ernesto?
Sometimes
Worst is it's true. Huh?
Sometimes it's not enough.
Sometimes it's not enough. You're still
The last
surviving at
time-
the bottom.
You should climb to where you think your ego is and drop by that. Yes.
The last time I went to Argentina to Buenos Aires, on the first day in the streets, I saw a sign at a lamp post or so by an artist, and it said, "Will sell my ego." Argentina is in financial troubles, right? So "will sell my ego."
Oh.
That's the biggest thing that Argentinians have left, right?
We're in financial
Ouch.
trouble all the time. This is our nature.
It's culture. It's the culture.
Yeah, the culture is the shadow of the system, though, is it not?
By the way,
But
if
what
you
I-
have never been to Buenos Aires, and to anybody here listening, if you have never been to Buenos Aires, you have to go. It's one of the greatest cities in the world. So fantastic. By the way, on the same morning, I went to Buenos Aires I came in to the city very early, and I went around in the neighborhood to a few stores, and I went into a bookstore, and I immediately met a person who I know, a woman who I know, Melina Chahamovic. Do you know her?
Yes.
Melina, hello. It was good to meet you at the bookstore. It was so incredible because I was looking at the books and I saw her somewhere. She was sitting there. She also saw me and she came over. I thought, this is impossible in a city of 10 million people or so. And I arrive after many years for the first time, and I immediately meet somebody in the street. It was amazing. It was really a coincidence because we have been in touch.
I remember you told me that. That was when we were taking
Funny thing. Yes, ego, status, power, of course. These are very important in command and control. And in beta, you have to. I think Ernesto, you put it brilliantly, right? We have to make peace with another kind of status orientation. For example, it's cool if I do not have my agenda. This is, I think, is a very. Does that exist in Argentina as well? That people have their agenda stuffed. Managers have their agenda stuffed with meetings, half hour slots.
Yes.
And they derive ego and status from that, and the feeling of power, which of course it isn't. It's the opposite. If you cannot even manipulate your agenda because it's all
Hey, but I got a huge budget. I have a huge budget, so I can. Yeah, my budget's bigger than your. My budget's bigger than your budget. So
if you can charge your clients with your bad processes, it is always to be okay, because you have that kind of bad use of time is in the price of your product.
Sure.
So always paying, not the budget. It's not the budget thing. It's the client thing. Your client is paying for your inefficiency.
Yes. Yes. And steering and the waste. Yes. And the meetings. And the committees and the McKinsey consulting that you buy, which you shouldn't. All that is embedded in the price.
Yes.
Yes, ego, status, power. That's the topic that I find it's very important. Working with larger organizations, especially in smaller as well, but in larger organizations, it becomes a system in itself, right? In command and control alpha organizations, power structures and ego and status status thinking, it becomes its own thing,
Because 30% or 40% of the people is taking care about that.
That's why I like to tell my consulting clients, which are general managers or CEOs, I tell them, you will have a total change in lifestyle. You are the biggest beneficiary, very personally, because your life after this beta transformation, so in 90 days or so, within the next 90 days, you will have but it's not smooth. You will have much less meetings. Yeah, there will be no committee. You will have the time, but you always to deal with clients and the business, but you also have to do that. Otherwise you will be perceived as futile, as unnecessary, So it is a big shift. And I think people want that. In their hearts, everybody wants beta. I always repeat that, right? Also senior executives and company owners, they want beta because they have so much to gain from it. Yeah? That's why I tell them, you are the beneficiary, because let's look at your agenda, how crowded it is. Imagine we can slash 80% of the meetings just through structure and decentralization and relative targets, self-structure design and relative targets, and you will have 80% less meetings, and you will have time so people can walk in and talk to you about the business. And
well, I wanted to say that you're talking about time orientation too. Right. If I have filled my entire agenda with stuff, I'm going to be late to half of my meetings, as opposed, and I'm going to be hurrying. I'm going to be thinking. I'm not going to be present. I'm going to be all over the place.
Yes.
And if I have intentional things here, I will show up. I'll be punctual. I'll be present. I'll get shit done, and then I'll be able to come out. I mean, it is more flow. It is more human. Dare I say, it is love. So it is. Yes. It is love, man.
Is this love that I'm feeling? Is this the love?
No. You earlier dropped Pink Floyd and you're singing Whitesnake. No, forget about it.
Yeah, it's just a song. I'm not a fan. It's just the first love song that came to mind.
You learned that. That's okay.
Yeah, and I learned two things about you, Niels, today that rather shocked me. One is your disdain for Rush, and also your disdain for Yes, another.
I love Yes, but I oppose Pink Floyd, and I cannot connect with Rush. I have tried so many times.
All right, so it's like the Yes thing surprised me. Okay, all right.
I love Yes. I expressed myself badly. I love it.
It's a nice way to put it. I cannot connect with Rush. That's okay. I cannot connect with Steely Dan as well.
Yes. I do not think they're bad. Not at all. It's just that they don't make me shiver for some reason. They don't. They have never succeeded to suck me into their orbit.
Yeah, well, different.
But I would love to be connecting to not to Pink Floyd. I'm opposed to Pink Floyd. I dislike several things about the band, but Steely Dan, I'm open to the relationship.
Well, we'll invite Steely Dan into the bedroom, and we'll see what happens next time.
Again, I've told you guys before. Look at China Crisis.
Yes, I know.
China Crisis.
Wonderful band,
I'm not familiar
very
with it.
appreciated from the 1980s. Or another one, one of the most underappreciated bands from the 1980s. They are called The Bible.
Yes.
The Bible. Wonderful band. They made one of the best albums in pop history. Fantastic band. Yes, we are deviating as usual because this is like the Coen movies. Movie by the Coen brothers, right? We are always
brothers, yeah.
There's always
No Country for Old Men.
Exactly. There's always some dream sequence or ridiculous thing, some drug.
As long as we don't wheel in a wood chipper for us here, I think we'll be fine.
No. All is good.
All is good.
What other topics about beta in large organizations would you want to discuss or raise? Other experiences that you have, or worries that you find?
Some other that I didn't mention is how to, from the CEO part, is how to communicate to the committee or to the shareholders that we are going to do this change.
Yes.
Without shocking them. Even when they have been dealing with really difficult situations, they don't know how to convince them that beta is better or that decentralization is better in value creation. Okay.
Yes.
And that was hard for me.
Yes, it's something that beta consultants like ourselves, we have to learn it to talk to shareholders, to owners, or help our clients who might be general managers, CEOs, to talk to their shareholders in a different way. Something that Silke and I have learned, what to.
Sometimes they see them, the people in managing positions in the traditional structures, see them, the shareholders, as the dark side, someone that you cannot speak to, you cannot explain, they are not going to understand, they are only worried about profitability. That is one important thing. That's why we should talk about profit. But yes, and that's a message for the shareholder.
And beta automatically gives you a jump in profit. That's one of the things that we discovered since we have been doing open space beta, that already during the 90 days you have a little bit of improvement of profitability, and right after the 90 days there is another jump usually, and there's no serious way to explain it, in detail. You can detail it very much, go down the details. Where have we slashed cost? Like at one of our clients, they reduced the amount of parking lots that they rented and the amount of servers that they rented, and they eliminated servers that they had standing around and that weren't generating anything. And of course, some people might leave, manager of department XYZ, and you may not substitute that person because the department doesn't exist anymore, and people can self-manage without a manager, self-organize without a manager. So profitability will increase almost immediately a bit, and then more and more and more over time. We also like to say to our clients, large and small, that the beta transformation pays for itself usually during the 90 days already, because we figure out some serious waste during the 90 days that gets eliminated straight away. So it pays for itself. Or if we slash, of course, once we slash HR processes and finance processes, performance appraisal, budgeting.
I think this
bonus, wasteful bonus processes, and so that saves so much money. And I do not mean in bonuses for people.
You mean benefits, maybe, but the benefits to people. The thing that you're talking about, I think the aha from here, you're talking about the different kind of conversation you need to have with the different level of person of authority, and because of their ego and their status and all that stuff, it's different. They're playing a different game. It's not like they're not human, but they're playing a different game inside their. They are not human. But like you said,
as a beta consultant,
no.
Talk about these things. Yeah.
Yeah, but the conversations you have to have, and Ernesto, I'm curious to hear what the conversations you have are like. But to have a conversation with a director or VP kind of conversation, that's different than having it with a general manager or a chief executive officer. But maybe the time is there. So yeah, give me a little bit more. Draw that out. Correct me, please.
In my experience, we should not have different conversations. The conversation is one, the purpose is the same, and the information and the way that you want to change the design is the same thing. It's the same message for everyone. And because probably you can use different phrasing, but I don't feel I usually try to have the same conversation with anyone.
True.
Because profit is good for anyone, and design is good for anyone, and relative target is good for anyone. There are not different kind of understanding.
Yes.
My experience.
The understanding is the same, but I think that maybe it's the amount of time. Maybe that's what I'm thinking about. You're only given a certain amount of time to have the conversation.
I think the difference is that when you start beta transformation or in a beta organization, you start talking about business a lot and all the time, instead of talking about stupid processes that are not business, like budgets, cost. That's not business. It's nothing to talk about. We don't have to talk about cost. We have to talk about value creation and waste. That's a different discussion. It's different words and different conversation, and it's more business related, because once you talk about, this is just an example, of course, but once you talk about stuff like cost or cost management processes, you distance yourself from the business. You become
the same
bureaucrat by nature, right? Yes. So in a way, I think the challenge of beta transformation in a large organization is to get people talk about business again, which includes, Ernesto, you mentioned that beautifully before. In alpha organizations, usually nobody thinks about market and competition. Mm-hmm. There is no time or space for that, because in the meetings and committees, it's all us, me, up, down, them, my silo, their silo, interfaces, processes, serving HR, feeding up to whatever finance.
Yes.
So bring business back to organizations. It's a real challenge. I see that with time-oriented software development as well. In time-oriented software development, people start to actually talk about the software and the development instead of talking about retrospectives, instead of talking about
what time are we going to do our stand-up? When's our sprint review?
Yes,
are we going to do backlog grooming this week?
Let's just talk about the features. Let's just talk about the problems that we have with features, or with concepts, or with realization, or with code, or with Claude, or let's talk about the problems that we have. That's the business. It's not the process and the roles. And today we will stand here for another 15 minutes to talk about. Any questions? That's not business. So bringing back the beta brings back business to business in a way.
Yes,
that's nice.
And that was the problem with agility. Agility was taking as role discussion. We have to do agility. It doesn't matter the business impact.
Yeah, and estimation. That was another huge discussion. I'm not sure if it's still
story points.
Oh my God, story point. Estimation, planning,
poker planning,
the poker game. When I heard about the estimation poker the first time, I thought, okay, this is what people who do not know how the works do.
How much stuff can we fit in the bucket? How much stuff can we fit
in the sprint, which is batch processing. That's not Toyota-like at all. It's not about flow. It's the opposite. So this distancing from value creation and from the actual work, I think that it troubles all larger alpha organizations because you have entire departments or silos that they turn their back to the business effectively.
Yes.
And that it has an effect on people. It creates a need for status, ego, and power as well that is not related to the business. And that, by the way, is something that I have seen at Bayer, and I am not quite convinced that Bayer has already driven it out. So as much as Bayer may be talking about DSO. I haven't heard that it's all driven out, all this ego stuff from headquarters in Leverkusen and in Basel and so on. I'm not quite convinced. I do not see the signs. I do not hear the stories. I would like to hear the stories from
signs everywhere. Signs.
That requires some very serious, transformation work to drive out the processes and the ego and the committees and the, many ladders of hierarchy. And
Deming said, drive out the fear.
And drive out the fear, bring in the love, yes, and bring in the business. Love is business, business is love. That sounds like a Prince lyric.
Love is business. Okay, coming soon from the Pflaeging Trio. Love is business. That's the album that we're going to be on. All right. Well, the sun is rising here in Cincinnati, Ohio.
That's good.
And I'm rising, not there. It is. I'm sure it's mid-afternoon for you, Niels, and the time
let's
of
give
day
our.
for you.
So you mean we should give our guest Ernesto the chance to make a final statement?
Yes, Ernesto. What was the gift that you received from our dance here today? Our bedroom bonanza.
No. Well, the first is being really thankful for the space. I think that we get through several points that are interesting. In the last part of Niels' talk, I found that when companies don't see the market through the competition, they are seeing themselves as silos. You should, getting back to the regatta or Formula One, how you know that in which position you are and how competitive you are, because you are seeing what happens around you. And if someone goes faster, you should accelerate or not. It depends. So companies are not used to do that. They are used to see themselves, only themselves. And in this week, I was working with two clients that they're starting to see, after 1 year of struggling altogether, how relative targets are starting to work, because they compare against themselves and other teams and the market, and they see that fixed target doesn't work, because they were set the previous years with fixed target that they can go beyond that. So I'm starting to see results in that, and I think that we go through several of the most important topics that we found usually.
Thank you.
Fantastic. A mic drop from Ernesto.
Yes.
My gift from today was the regatta. Talking. We're not talking about ships. We're not talking about battleships and speedboats. We're talking about a regatta, and that was another one of the many flips, the mind flips that happen one of the gracious things that happens when I've come into this world and this universe in relationship with all of you. So, Niels, do you have a gift to share before we end the stream and talk to each other? TTO in the background.
For this lovely conversation. Ernesto, we will have you back. We will have to talk about Tost at some point together. I think the three of us, of course. And for some reason, I got inspired to listen to a particular album by The Police. Their first or second album, I think. Regatta de Blanc.
Yes.
So yes, I'm looking forward to listening to that and to see you guys again very soon. I hope we will have some feedback from viewers and listeners as well about this episode.
Sure.
I enjoyed this. This was lovely. Let's do more of that. Let's say beta.
Let's be beta. Be more beta. Beta is love. Beta is happy. Beta is business. Profit is good. All